Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and I am here to talk about the Women's Royal Rumble. Okay, so who really cares about this? I'll tell you who cares about this. Only the most cucky smarks on the internet. The YWC, the IWC, the Ryan Sands of the world. We must empower women. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how these people are frauds, how these people, they like to pretend like they're a woman's best friend, but they're seriously some of the most pervy, disgusting people on the internet. I'm just going to say it's the most empowering, women lovers out there. Those are always the biggest sexual deviants. Those are always the ones that like want to raid a panty drawer. Just saying, folks. Let's be perfectly honest here. Brad, I thought you were gonna just talk about the women's battle royal. I didn't know you were gonna get this crazy. Well, I'm a pretty crazy guy if you haven't noticed here. All these years here in the YWC participating here. Over 5 years here in the YWC. It has been, it's going to be pretty close to 6, actually. Over 5 years. My God. So, I've always prided myself on saying whatever I wanted to, whatever my opinion is at the moment. That is what I'm going to always say. So let's cut through all the bullshit and let's just talk about this. Okay, so something happened. It was like last year or so. They decided, I believe it was last year, they decided, let's do away with the term diva. There was a Divas Revolution that happened in 2015 when we started getting Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and all these new women started to come in. And, we were supposed to, like, say, like, oh my God, what a huge, massive change. And nothing really changed. It was basically all the same shit, just with a new packaging on it. All of a sudden now we're going to take women's wrestling seriously. We're going to put it on the main event of the show. We're going to make like it really matters. When really at the end of the day, nobody truly cares about women's wrestling. You kind of look now. You kind of had Charlotte a little bit over on Raw when she used to cut those promos. Alexa Bliss is over. Pretty much it's the heels. There's no baby face that's really over right now as far as the women goes. They're not. They're never given a chance to get any real heat. They're never given a chance to, figure out why they should be cheered. There's very, very few women on the roster that are over. They gave the belt to somebody like Natalya. You could clearly see there was a clear distinction between somebody like her and Naomi, who at least has an interesting entrance. Natalya is just boring. And really, most of the women are boring. Most of them don't have any personalities. We look at somebody like Becky Lynch, very attractive, hot. She looks good, her hair and all that. But the thing is, besides screaming, fire! What did she really do? Not much. What is fire? Why did she dress up all steampunk and shit? What's the deal with that? Why is she steampunk? We don't fucking know. What is even steampunk? I don't fucking even really know what that is. I've heard about it, but perhaps maybe they can inform me. And why is Becky Lynch a wrestler into steampunk? I don't know. And the thing is, it hasn't been explained for this long. I don't even really care. So, we have these women here. I've talked about how Alexa Bliss is one of the best, and Charlotte is one of the best women that they've had. But everybody else, I talked about it in my Raw review. Who's Sasha Banks? Why is she a boss? The boss is Rick Ross, and she's not Rick Ross the last time I checked. All she does is wear those visor sunglasses, which are just, I don't know who really came up with that, if that was Kanye West or something. So she wears that. She wears the knuckle dusters that say boss on it. And she does a lot of this. It's like, yeah. I really don't know exactly what the hell that's supposed to be. I don't know. I don't really care about all that, so, that's what you get out of one of the biggest stars of the women's division. What does that even mean? So now recently they've introduced some new girls into it. You've got Paige, who just recently came back after a long hiatus, and she brings two girls with her. And at the moment, their names escape me because, just 2 days after doing a Raw review, a day after doing a Raw review, I've already forgotten most of what's happened on the show. That should tell you right there. I watch the show, I do the review, and then I forget about it. I can't even remember it. It's so forgettable. So on SmackDown, we get the cheap version of Paige. They're like, oh, so Paige on Raw, they had some, a thing with the women. It's a kind of big thing. Paige showing up with the two girls from NXT. So, they need something for the equivalent of SmackDown. So let's introduce Ruby Riott, which she sort of looks like Paige if, like, maybe Paige stuck her face in the fucking blender and got a bunch of shitty-ass tattoos. Aside from that, you've got Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan, which, we already saw what they could do on this past episode of SmackDown. Cut really bad promos. So, these girls look really plain also. At least the girl on Raw, like I said, the ones that Paige brought along, you've got the angry lesbian, and you've got the really hot girls. So, but the girls that she brought along with her, they're like, one of them looks like she's trying to be Alexa Bliss, like the whole cheerleader type of look to her. And the other girl is just some random, they couldn't help themselves. They had to get oh, my family are hunters, because she's from the South. You gotta make like she's a hunter. Garbage! So why are they bringing these girls in? Ruby Riott is introducing herself twice. Just in case you didn't hear her introduce herself, Paige is saying I'm back, even though she returned last week. So they've already debuted and returned Paige, and they're already running out of ideas. It's the same thing. Beat up on a bunch of girls. Okay, so why are they doing all this? They want to do a women's Royal Rumble. So this they haven't said 30-person Royal Rumble yet, but I assume if it's a Royal Rumble and not a Battle Royal, then chances are they're probably going to get 30 people in here. Now, last time I checked, you've got Charlotte, Natalya, Becky Lynch, Tamina, Nia Jax, Alexa. But I don't know. I could count them all here in this video, and I guarantee you there's not 30. And there definitely ain't 30 that are even anywhere near. There's not even 10 girls that really deserve to be on the roster that I can really say I really wholeheartedly enjoy and that are good. So, what are they going to maybe do a 20-person battle Royal Rumble? I keep saying Battle Royal Rumble. I don't know. I do care because if I'm going to watch this Royal Rumble and review it, do I really want to sit there and watch 2-hour-long matches? Holy shit! Did anybody even think about that? Anybody who watches these pay-per-views on the network, anybody that reviews shit like me here on YouTube, did anybody think about that we have to watch all that fucking Royal Rumble-ness? I mean, that's crazy. I mean, yeah, I want to see the men's Royal Rumble, but the women's one? Do we really need that? Okay, and we all know why they're doing first. It's a breakthrough. We know what's going on, socially in the political world. We know that, like, feminism is taking a forefront. It's radical feminism. We got to be body positive. That's why somebody could look like Ruby Riott and still... Oh, what? Ruby Riott is not your idea of a woman? What are you, sexist? No, all I'm saying is that usually you want to have attractive women on the show so you could, get a pretty steady male demographic going, and get some males watching this shit that want to see actually attractive women. See, Paige is attractive. This ugly wannabe of Paige is not attractive. And the other two bums she brought along with her, they definitely are not viable superstars, women. So you see the whole thing. Oh, we're not divas. We're women. Okay, well, they don't call the men men. They did at Survivor Series. Oh, it's the men's Survivor Series team and the women's Survivor Series team. They're just like superstars most of the time. But we got to have a clear distinction. Oh, we're not divas. That might be offensive because, like, a diva is like a well-to-do woman, like, who's usually very full of herself. They say, oh, what a diva. So is that the reason why? Because, oh, God forbid one woman gets insulted by diva. It's a fucking wrestling show, for God's sakes. But we all know in the PG, publicly traded company, WWE, oh, we got to play it safe. That's exactly why they've done it. That's why they've changed it, a couple of years back. Like I'm saying, it's. I know that's why they're doing it, and they have to have first. Oh, what? Only the women can have a Hell in a Cell match? Let's have a women's Hell in a Cell match. So the women's Hell in a Cell match between Sasha and Charlotte, it was good. Could have been better. Provided better build-up, and maybe Sasha actually had some personality to offer up. Yes, that definitely would have been better. That would have made the match better tenfold. But, of course, we're not going to get that. So now we got to have another first. We had the first women's Money in the Bank. So we just got to have the women's Royal Rumble. There's no way out of this one, folks. We got to have it. We just got to. Because there's no fucking way that you could just have the men do something without the women do. So let's just say this. The men's wrestling has always been better. When we talk about the greatest matches and the greatest moments of all time, it is very rare that we talk about the women. We'll talk about certain women that we thought were hot, throughout WWE history or wrestling history. We'll bring up Deborah, we'll bring up Sable, we'll bring up Trish Stratus, we'll bring up Lita. I'll tell you, I did a list. Check it out, my top 10 women's divas of all time. So, you might want to check that out, just to get an idea of how I feel and, what really encompasses being a great woman in WWE. Is there a problem with a woman being sexy, with a woman flaunting her assets? I mean, these women work on their bodies pretty hard, so it's like, so are they just doing it, so they could not show it off? I mean, is that a crime? Is that like a bad thing? I mean, this is wrestling. It's supposed to be testosterone fueled, so it's like, it's a bit insulting when you tell us that we can't have hot, sexy women on the show, that we have to just appreciate their wrestling skills. When most of the time, like I said, when we talk about some of the greatest matches of all time, it's because the women are not really that great. They're not as strong as the men. I'm sorry, guys. That's just biology. I'm sure there's some women out there that are stronger than men. Like if a guy doesn't really work out at all, he's malnutrition, and, a girl works out all the time and she's, very physically fit and healthy, then I guess it's possible. Most of the time, most women are weaker than men. I'm sorry if that offends people. I'm sorry if this is not politically correct enough for you, but that's just really basically facts. That's science. Now, I know a lot of people like to bend science to its will, but I'm sorry, but that is biology. I'm sorry. It's just how it goes. And most of the time, women's matches, they're pretty sloppy. They make a lot of mistakes in those matches. And it's usually because they're just, like I said, they're weaker. They're not as good as the men. Let's just, whatever the reasons are, biology and otherwise, the women's stuff is never as good as the men's stuff. And they could try to say, oh, the women put on a better performance than the men. I say it when it's, like I said, when the women beat the shit out of each other backstage, It always looks better than when the men do it for some reason. So I do give credit where credit's due. But let's not get all crazy and say, oh, the women put on a better performance, because it's just not true. And, you know, I don't, is it the booking? Oh, Brad, that's just because of the booking and the way they do it. It just, okay, whatever it is, I don't know. I don't care. It's just not as good. So, you know, every single time I'm watching SmackDown or something, they always got to have the women all lined up like fucking cattle, you know, and like talk to them one by one. Like they just have numbers and they don't even have fucking names. They're just woman A, woman B, woman C. I mean, come on. The thing is, no one is going to take any of these women outside of Charlotte and Alexa Bliss seriously, because they don't have any personality, they don't have any character or anything. You know, some have a good entrance, so you know, some have a good look to them and everything. But the thing is, it's like, you know, like I said, what does fire mean? You know, and Naomi has a good entrance. You know, she is likable in a lot of ways. So I mean, a lot of the women do have things to like it about them, but not enough. And to do a whole Royal Rumble match with these girls, especially now we see that they're just trying to fill up space now. You know, they're not even really trying to get anybody really that great or good. They're just like, okay, we just got to really just you know, we just got to throw a bunch of girls in there to fill up spots so we can get 30 girls in there. It doesn't matter how good they are, if they, you know, if they're even competent, if they could cut any promos, if they even deserve to be on the main roster, if they even deserve to be in NXT. It's just, okay, we need 30 girls, so we're just going to get people like Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan in there. I mean, come on, guys. Come the hell on already. This is fucking ridiculous. We're just going to pour a bunch of random girls in there just so we can hit the magical number 30, which enables us to have a Royal Rumble match. I mean, what? That is just the worst excuse ever to have a fucking match. Oh, the women haven't done it. It's time for them to break down another barrier. Fuck. Who the hell cares? You know, like, okay, so we can't die happily unless we see all the women in the Royal Rumble match. And does anything ever really tell you that, like, the women's division is not that good? You know what I'm saying? Especially on SmackDown. Very disjointed. We don't, you know, most of the time, you know, we have Natalya as champion. Nothing, you know, she lost it to Charlotte, but I'm saying nothing really exciting happens. We have the same cookie cutter segments. Oh, okay, now we have Ruby Riott and the Riott Squad, but they're cutting these horrendous promos. I've seen people in the indies cut better promos than what I saw on SmackDown. I mean, this is who they're going to let in? I don't know, guys. But like I said, I know this is because of feminism. I know this is because, you know, they want to be so accepted by the mainstream. Oh, look at, you know, we treat our women with respect. I mean, come on. There is a difference between treating women with respect, you know, and just putting on a shitty wrestling show. Just, I mean, this is not entertaining. This is not good. I mean, so you had a talented girl like Emma. She was hot. She was good in the ring. She even hung in there with Asuka. And you release her, but then you bring in this ugly Ruby Riott. You see what I'm saying, guys? Anyway, there you go. That's my thoughts on it. Get offended, get triggered. I don't know what to tell you guys. All right, motherfuckers. Until next time.